Hi everyone, it's Ileana and I have a card to share with you today. I'm going to be using a couple of stamp sets from Stampers Anonymous. I'm going to use the Crazy Dogs and the Crazy Things stamp set. And I've taken out the foam insert from my Misti because these are cling mount. You don't need to have those in there. And I'm using a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock. And I'm placing my images where I want them to be, and I want the dog to be wearing the hat, and so I'm stamping it so that I know what order to stamp them in. And I use the magnet to hold up that foam stamp so that I could pick it up with the lid, and then I picked up the remainder of the stamps. I'm stamping uh, everything out with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm using the bottom corner for this part, and you'll see why I'm going to be using both corners in a little bit. And now I'm just stamping on some masking paper because I do have to mask that little party hat. I just used the magnet to hold down my photo paper, I'm sorry, not my photo paper, my masking paper. And I'm using the Inka Dink and Do masking paper, but you could use a regular, like a post-it note or anything like that if you like. I cut inside of the line so that I don't get like a halo. And now I've moved my cardstock up to the opposite corner so that I could stamp the puppy there. And I'm not going to take my stamps off the Misti. And the reason why I didn't want to do that was because I wanted to color my pictures and then go back and stamp with some Versa Fine Black Onyx ink. First, I'm going to start with some coloring, and I've sped this up 4 times. So you'll see me going um, a little quickly, but still not quick enough to make the time go by fast. So hopefully I could just keep talking until I'm done coloring. What I did first was I used the darker color first, and then I went with my medium and then the lighter color. I learned this from Kelly Alvarez from Lawn Fawn. She was a guest designer, a teacher on one of the online card classes. And so this was one of the techniques that she taught, which was to color the dark part first, then blend it out with the medium, and then go back with the lightest one. That way you get like a highlight, but I'm not really too concerned with proper shading or anything like that. I'm just using the marks that the artist drew on the stamps. Um, they put the shadows in there, so I'm just going by that. And to be quite honest, I'm not very good with the imagining where the light source is coming from. I just want to color, and it's as long as I'm having fun coloring, I'm okay. And it's going to look fine. And the recipient of the card is not going to look at it and say, oh, look, the shadow is on the wrong side. So just have a good time coloring and don't worry about what the proper thing is. I just figured if I use my common sense on where a shadow would be, like underneath the collar or underneath the hat, then it'll all work out in itself. Now I've moved on to the pink, and I am using bright colors. I know that it's fall, but parties are supposed to be vibrant, and so I just decided to go with bright colors. And I'm using 3 shades of the red violet, and the colors that I have, I don't believe there's a shade in between the medium and the light, so I'm just doing tip to tip coloring so that I could create an in-between shade. Otherwise, it's really, really bright compared to um, between the two colors. I'm also not very good with figuring out what colors to use, so I've kept it really simple. I have, my visual triangle with the blue hat, blue balloon, and blue present. And I'm doing the same thing with the pink, the pink bow, the pink hat, and the pink collar. And I even just saved the 3 colors from my last card video to use for the ears. So those are the exact same 3 shades of pink that I used on the flower that I did last time, and I'm just using those to color the insides of the dog's ear. And now I'm going to start coloring the puppy. And I did originally pick out this dog because of the floppy ear, because we have a little dog named Ginger, and she's a rescue pup, and she has one floppy ear. I'll be sure to put a picture of her in my blog post so that you could see. And I did want to try to color her the same shade, color this puppy the same shade as Ginger, but um, I don't think I could do her justice just because she's got like this um, reddish blonde, almost like a strawberry blonde color, but she's got some brown and some black mixed in. My husband calls her a little hyena, so she kind of does look like a little hyena. So I would have no earthly idea how I would go about coloring. Um, if I were to make an attempt, I would use my colored pencils, but I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out a color combination for her, so I just figured I would stick with a neutral dog. Seeing as there was a lot of bright colors, I just decided to go with the warm grays. And I started off once again with the dark colors, and then I went and used the medium, and then I'm using the light color to blend everything out. And you can just continue to layer the color until you kind of like what you see. So lately I've been making it an effort to use things that I've purchased that I've been saving for someday. So I went through some of my purchases and I just pulled out a stamp. And so it was the crazy dog one. So I thought, okay, I have to make a card. So I forced myself to use it so that I wouldn't feel overwhelmed with all of the supplies that I have, trying to figure out where to start. And so I just thought that if I picked one thing out and committed to it and then found other things that would go with it, that it was a much easier process for me. So I'll probably keep doing that for a little while just until I get my mojo back. Um, but anyways, so I'm coloring the dog's nose now, the snout, and I wasn't sure what to do for that, and so I just picked out some darker colors, some more warm grays, and I'm just coloring it in until I could tell that there's a difference between the rest of the dog. I didn't want it to be too flat, and so once again, I there's no color in between the warm 6 and the warm 8. I don't think that a warm 7 exists, or at least I'm not sure. So I'm just doing a tip to tip to create an in-between color. And I don't want the nose to be a light color like a pink or anything like that. I thought it would look a little too odd. And so what I decided to do was just to color it a dark, dark gray. That way it's not totally black. And that worked out pretty good, I thought. So I'm just putting the darkest part around the edges, and then I'm going back in with that warm 6 and just adding more shading to it just so that it doesn't look so flat. And now I'm just going to use a brown for the eyes. I didn't want to use blue again. And now I'm going to create some kind of a ground so that the dog's not floating. The present looks a little odd to me, but I just decided to get over it and just put put the floor below it. It's not really a shadow. I just figured that the as long as the dog wasn't floating, I wasn't really going to worry about putting a shadow where the dog was or the present was. I just really didn't want to think about where the light source was, kind of like what I mentioned before. It's a little too complicated, and to be quite honest, I just don't care. I think it looks nice when other people do it, but it stresses me out, and I don't want to be stressed out when it comes to coloring. I hope you agree there. And the line was just a little too stark for me, and so I just took a little bit of the colorless blender pen and just and just blended everything out just so that it was a little bit smoother. I'm just going to wait for all of the alcohol ink to dry so that I can go back and overstamp. If you don't wait till the alcohol is dry, you'll get some feathering and some bleeding with your black. And I put the mask back on, and I tucked the cardstock into the upper corner of the Misti, and I'm stamping the dog again. I did that first so that I wouldn't have to put mask over the hat. And so I did that first, and now I can go back and do my overstamping of the dog's accessories. And what I'll do now is I'll add the sentiment, and I'm using this old stamp set from Hero Arts called Life of the Party, and I looked for it online and I couldn't find any links to it or where it was available, but if you have any alphabet stamps, you could spell out the word party, or you could put happy birthday, or just pick something out that you already have. And once that's done, I'm going to add my clear embossing powder. I really like the way that the dark black from the black onyx looks. And then to add clear embossing powder, it kind of intensifies it a little bit more. And I really like the way that that looks. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw the string to the balloon. I'm just doing a little curlicue at the end and just making it look like it's in the dog's mouth. But it looks kind of odd with it just being a matte marker, and so I'm just taking my Versamark marker, and I'm just tracing the line. And because I'm using clear, if I don't go directly over the line, you're not really going to notice it. And it does darken up that line so it looks like it was supposed to be that way. And I'm just going to trim it down. I'm just going to trim it down to 4 and 5 1/4. That way I can have colored cardstock underneath and have it frame my stamped images. The colored cardstock that I end up using is from Basil. It was a leftover piece of cardstock from a Simon Says stamp kit. It is called, what was it called? Candy Necklace. And it matches perfectly with the blue that's in the balloon in the present. I've just used some ATG on the back of my card front and use that to tear it down. And now I'm going to add some Wink Estella, and I'm going to do it on the pink. And I kind of wanted to do it on the balloon, but I didn't want to have it just be the balloon. And so I'm just doing it specifically on the pink, just to add a little bit of shimmer. And thanks so much for hanging in there with all the babbling on the Copic coloring. It's kind of really hard to fill in the blanks, and so I appreciate your patience. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up so I know that you like my videos. And I hope you have a great day.